The rain dripped steadily off the gnarled branches above, their skeletal forms illuminated in flashes of lightning across the alien sky. It wasn't Earth, but the storm felt familiar. I lay prone in the mud, my rifle, cold weight against my shoulder, eyes locked on the ruins ahead. A faint shimmer of movement appeared in the scope, the telltale ripple of a cloaker's stealth field. I exhaled slowly. The mission was simple on paper. Eliminate Qal-Rath, the alien warlord whose campaigns had decimated 3 colonies and now threatened Earth itself. He was holed up in this fortress, deep within the hostile jungles of the Warren 6. A direct assault would be suicide, so the brass had sent me, the best sniper humanity could offer, to end the threat before it reached our home. But missions like these are never simple. 2 days earlier. "Your target is a cage-class tyrant," Captain Orn said, sliding a holographic dossier across the briefing table. "Qal-Rath's personal guard numbers in the dozens, each enhanced with cybernetics and psionic shielding. He's no fool, Marshal. The fortress is a fortress for a reason." "Good thing I'm not looking for a fair fight," I replied, feigning confidence I didn't entirely feel. "Your extraction is contingent on Qal-Rath's death," Orn continued, ignoring my remark. "No kill, no evac. Understood?" I nodded, though my gut twisted at the weight of his words. It wasn't fear, not exactly. I'd long ago made peace with dying in the field. What unsettled me was the nagging thought that this time failure might doom more than just me. Earth, humanity, everything we fought for hung in the balance. In the present. The cloaker moved closer, its silhouette briefly visible as it passed through a patch of alien ferns. I steadied my breath, my finger brushing the trigger. Not yet. The rain masked my scent, but a single careless shot could alert the entire compound. Another ripple, closer now. Its elongated form materialized for a split second as it adjusted its stealth field, revealing clawed limbs and the unmistakable shimmer of plasma blades. I squeezed the trigger, and the high-caliber round punched clean through its head. The cloaker's body crumpled noiselessly, blending into the mud. "One down," I muttered, scanning for movement. The compound loomed ahead, a sprawling labyrinth of stone and steel, built into the cliffs. From this vantage point, I could see guards patrolling the perimeter. Hulking, caged warriors, their armor glinting faintly under the storm's dim light. They moved with unnerving precision, their heads swiveling in practiced arcs. Each one was a challenge on their own, but my mission wasn't about them. It was about the warlord. As I repositioned, the pain came to me, and the precious fear came the thrill of any life within reach, and I knew it like an old comrade. As I repositioned, memories clawed at the edges of my focus. Faces of comrades long gone. Mason, the loudmouth pilot who could charm his way through any blockade. Garrick, the stoic, unflinching Kren, who took a plasma bolt to the chest during the raid on Tarvis Prime. They were all gone now, sacrifices for a war we hadn't asked for, but couldn't avoid. What made me special? Why was I the one lying here in the mud, tasked with saving humanity? I didn't feel special. If anything, I felt like a ghost, a shadow of the man I used to be. Movement drew me back to the present. A group of guards approached the cloaker's body, their alien voices harsh and guttural. I shifted my aim, targeting the lead warrior. His helmet's design marked him as an officer, likely equipped with enhanced sensory arrays. I fired. The shot pierced his neck, sending him sprawling. The others reacted instantly, raising shields and searching for my position. But I was already moving, sliding into a deeper patch of cover. Adrenaline sharpened my senses. Each breath, each heartbeat felt magnified as I crawled through the mud. The rain was my ally now, muffling my movements and masking my heat signature. I needed to get closer, inside the compound if possible. A sharp pain flared in my leg as a stray plasma bolt grazed me. I bit back a curse, dragging myself into the shadows of a broken wall. My suit's auto-seal function kicked in, staunching the wound, but the burning sensation lingered. Getting past the outer perimeter was easier than I'd anticipated. Qal-Rath's guards were focused on securing the jungle, not the fortress itself. Inside, the air was stifling, heavy with the scent of metal and decay. Alien hieroglyphs adorned the walls, glowing faintly in the dim light. I moved silently, my steps measured. Every corner, every shadow felt like it could hide death. My heart pounded as I neared the central chamber, where Qal-Rath's presence was almost palpable. He was waiting. I could feel it. The door to the chamber loomed ahead, flanked by 2 guards. Unlike the others, these were massive, their armor bristling with weapons. I didn't have time for subtlety. I armed a flash charge and tossed it into the corridor. The detonation filled the air with blinding light and deafening noise, giving me just enough time to eliminate the guards before they could recover. The chamber was vast, its walls lined with trophies, skulls, weapons, fragments of armor from countless species. At its center stood Qal-Rath. He was enormous, his frame wrapped in a cloak of shimmering scales. His 4 arms held weapons I couldn't even name, and his eyes burned with a cold, calculating fury. "You are brave, human," he said, his voice reverberating through the chamber. "Brave, but foolish." I didn't reply. Words were pointless here. I raised my rifle and fired. The shot never reached him. A flick of his wrist and the round disintegrated midair, consumed by some unseen force. He laughed, a deep, resonant sound that made the walls tremble. "I have faced your kind before," he said, stepping closer. "Fragile, desperate creatures. You think yourself special." I fired again, this time aiming for his exposed side. He dodged with inhuman speed, closing the distance between us. I barely had time to roll out of the way as his weapon cleaved through the floor where I'd been. The fight was brutal. Every move, every breath felt like a battle for survival. My rifle was useless against his defenses, forcing me to rely on my sidearm and combat knife. His blows were relentless, each one shattering the ground around us. But I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for Earth, for every life that depended on me succeeding. In a moment of desperation, I activated the pulse charge embedded in my knife. The explosion sent both of us sprawling, the chamber filling with smoke and debris. My ears rang, and pain shot through my body, but I forced myself to stand. Qal-Rath was wounded, his cloak torn and one of his arms hanging limply, but he was still standing. "You fight well, human," he said, blood dripping from his mouth, "but you cannot win." I didn't respond. Instead, I drew my last weapon, a small, unassuming device no larger than a pen. It was a prototype, something the engineers called a quantum imploder. One use, one shot, designed to collapse matter at the molecular level. Qal-Rath recognized it instantly. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. "This is not the end," he growled, lunging toward me. I activated the device and threw it. The explosion was silent, a sudden collapse of light and sound that engulfed him entirely. When it cleared, there was nothing left of Qal-Rath but a faint scorch mark on the floor. The mission was over, but the toll was heavy. As I limped back to the extraction point, I thought of the faces I'd lost, the lives I'd saved. Humanity wasn't special because of our strength or technology. It was our resilience, our willingness to fight even when the odds were stacked against us. When the dropship arrived, I didn't look back in the fortress. There was nothing left for me there, only the knowledge that, for now, Earth was safe. And for the first time in a long while, I allowed myself to hope.